Nobody wants to work anymore. Let me tell you about the interview I had this week, and maybe then you'll see why nobody wants to work anymore. First red flag, I get there and they tell me that they're going to do my interview in the front of the store where customers are walking in, just in front of everyone. It didn't really bother me that much because I do really well in interviews. I'm very talkative and outgoing, but it was weird because I've never had an employer do that before. So the store manager and I, her name was Brittany, she asked me to describe myself, and I said, I'm passionate, I'm outgoing, I'm hardworking. My biggest flaw, I get bored at work. I always have to be doing something. And she was like, that's great, there's always something to be doing here. She then told me to describe an instance. I had a difficult time with a coworker, and I'm trans, so I wanted to tread the waters and see if this was a safe place for me to work. So I told her I had a former shift lead who was not respecting a coworker's identity, was constantly misgendering them and saying some very, very rude things. And I did mention that I did confront this coworker, and I told them that it was not respectful, and if the action continued, I would take it to HR. I told her, you know, I think it's very important to respect people in the workplace. And she was like, oh my God, yeah, I totally agree. So now I'm thinking, oh, awesome. She respects trans people. I'm going to be safe here. And then she says, yeah, I don't even get into gender ideology politics at work. Okay, girlie, what do you mean by that? And I asked her, I said, what do you mean? Could you give me an example? And she says, well, you know, I'll respect whatever you want to be called, but I had a former employee. Now, she wanted us to call her a boy, but she looked like a girl and dressed like a boy. And, you know, we all did our best to respect her pronoun. And I'm like, oh my God, she's describing a trans man right now, saying that she was respecting his pronouns, but is misgendering him to me this entire time. I did clarify with her. I was like, oh, was he a trans man? She was like, yeah, whatever she wanted to be called. Now, I already know this is not a safe place for me. If she offers me a job, I'm not taking it. That is disgusting. Just so disgusting. So not a very strong start to an interview, but like we had to keep going. I didn't say anything because I wasn't going to out myself at that point. And then she starts telling me about the expectations for the job. She was like, what questions do you have for me? And I said, well, I noticed online, because I did some research, that you guys have a very high turnover rate. Is there any particular reason for that? And she said, yeah, people just like don't want to work. Okay. Like it's not a hard job. I come in and I do everything for you. So, you know, you would never really have to do anything. And I was like, that's literally the opposite of what she just told me. She literally just told me that there would always be something to do. And now she's telling me that I'm never going to have anything to do. Hello? So I start asking about like what she expects from me for availability. And she was like, well, I would expect you to be like on call, like available like 24/7. She's like, I'm looking for 24/7 availability. And I was like, yeah, my availability is like pretty open. Like I would just need Wednesday and Thursday off. She said, that's not going to work for me. And I was like, oh, okay, that's like not a big deal. Like I could probably come in on Wednesday, Thursday. I would just need to move some stuff around. And she was like, okay, well, we're really low staff right now. So I would probably need you to be here from open to close every day. And I was like, this job was listed as part-time shift lead. And you want me here open to close every day. By the way, that would have been like 9 to 9. So 12 hours every day. Also, we wouldn't get a break as a shift lead. We would be on the floor at all times. She was like, yeah, no, we just like don't have any staff right now. So like, even though it's part-time, like I would need you to be here like full-time. And I was like, then why did you list it as part-time? I'm only looking for part-time work. She's like, well, I work 50 to 60 hours a week, and that's just what I expect of people. She's like, you see that girl over there that's running the popcorn? Yeah, she's actually not even my staff. I actually borrowed her from a store an hour away because I have no one to work under me, and I don't know why. I don't know why no one wants to work for me. And then we got to pay, and I was like, I already knew I'm not taking this job, but I want to know what she was going to pay me. So I asked, and she said, probably 10 an hour. 10 an hour for full-time overtime management, opening and closing? No breaks? She must have thought I'm fucking stupid. Last but not least, we got to the topic of my piercings. It's always a topic, it's not a big deal. She says, I need you to take all your piercings out. And I practiced this in the mirror, guys. Practice this. And I said, I am not willing to take my piercings out. They're an important part of my identity, and they do not interfere with my work, nor do they interfere with the way that I interact with people or the way that people interact with me. I'm willing to put a mask on to cover my piercings, and that is it. And she said, oh, I don't know if that's going to work for me. I'm going to need you to take them out. She's like, I could talk to the district manager for you. I was like, what does it matter if I have them if they're covered? And she was like, well, we just can't let you have them. Meanwhile, she's sitting there with 3 face piercings. She has an eyebrow piercing, she has a nostril piercing, and she has a lip piercing. So I am like, why do I have to take mine out if you don't have to take yours out? Why is your position more important than me when it comes to expressing identity? All in all, we get to the end of the interview, and she's like, I love you. Your personality is so vibrant and so beautiful. She was like, I think you would be a really great fit for us. She shook my hand. She said, I have a few more interviews this week, but you'll get a call from me by Thursday if I pick you. And I said, you know what? You have a wonderful day. And I walked out and I laughed my ass off in the car. Just like the blatant disrespect of someone that was working for her that she would not gender correctly, who explicitly told her how he wanted to be referred to. And she just still, I don't get into those politics. I'll respect what you want to be called, and then wouldn't respect him at all. Like, no one wants to work anymore. Employers don't even want us to work for them in the first place. I'm not going to become a corporate fucking slave. I should not be forced to strip myself of everything that makes me me just to work overtime, $10 an hour, management, no breaks. Oh, and I had another interview the next day. So I'm actually going to post a video about that one too, because it was equally horrible, but in a completely different way.